Hey guys, it's me, Blackbird Mini Plays, and today I'm going to be reading this book on Wattpad. It's called Eminem Imagines. So hopefully this will be appropriate. I'll try and not read the inappropriate words, but I'm sure you'll still be able to hear them. Hopefully I won't be interrupted because I hear some dumb twat that's supposed to be at work in the background. And I don't want this video to go wrong. I just want to get it over with, and then I can stream on Wednesday, which isn't the same Wednesday that this is going out on, even though this isn't going out on a Wednesday, but it's not the same week basically. But if I don't do this today, then I'll be wasting my Wednesday basically, when I could be streaming. But let's start. It was steaming hot. You come to the beach just to get away from the daily stress of your job. The warm sun was practically baking your skin, even though you got on a large white umbrella to sit under. Little girls in Minnie Mouse bathing suits were digging large spiral-shaped sandcastles with older members of their family. Little boys were surfing amongst the rushing bubble-transparent waves, and parents struggling to keep up with them. How you long for the days of your seamlessly infinite youth. You stretch out upon a large towel, shielding your legs from the scalding sand. You read a magazine on your Kindle and enjoy it for a little while. Reading your latest scandals in celebrities' lives entices and entertains you. The latest Twitter feuds seem hilarious. Suddenly a handsome muscular man in nothing but swim trunks whistles at you. Trying to identify your catcaller is difficult. It's pretty bright, and you have to squint to make him out. He's blonde with tattoos and a strong pale back. His swim trunks are coloured, but that's all you see. You roll your eyes in annoyance. Guys, you were always doing this. You go back to reading as the sun begins to let up on the brightness. It's getting a little hot, and you decide to go for a swim. After all, you've been saying not to. The Cobalt salt-infested waters were practically calling you to swim in them. They look pretty shallow, and you promised yourself not to go far. Tying up your hair and stepping out underneath the hot sun, you take one last glance at your things, making sure the places of where you are. After remembering where you are, you head down onto the wet, deep brown sand and wait as a wave washes over your toes. It comes as a shock, and it's cold, but feels pleasant. You head out a bit deeper until the midriff that was exposed in your emerald bikini is covered by water. You aren't that skilled in swimming, so you stop right at the edge of a little drop-off. You aren't by anything, so you begin to think about your life and look about at this seminal blueness. Feeling suddenly combat the ocean knocks you off your feet, literally, and you're now over the edge of the drop-off. It's deeper than your feet can reach. You begin to panic. Screams ring out from your mouth as you struggle back upon the drop-off. You can't seem to locate the sagging cliff of underwater sand, and you panic even more. You are splashing and being loud, but no one seems to hear you. Then you see a strong individual swimming towards you, but air isn't kind and running out quickly. It's becoming too much as you attempt to wait for the stranger. You're now unconscious, but are being gripped by someone's strong hands. "Hey, you aight?" he seems to scream. The water stops seeming to wade away from you, and you realize you're on land. Thousands of eyes are now glued to you as you struggle to come up with an answer. He's so cute, with his pointy nose and big cyan eyes. "Are you aight?" he requested again. You sit up, coughing seawater as it burns your throat. You're still in shock because he saved you. He saved your life. Finally, the long day is over and it's time to unwind. The cool fall afternoon of October gives your bathroom a tangerine glow, illuminates the room. Saturdays are truly the work of God. You feel grimy and gross due to your grueling day at work. You know the feeling. Head pounding, body aching, feet sore. It's all the works, and finally you've had enough. You pause your riveting episode of True Life, freezing the pink constance of scrawny blonde, and you suddenly feel you were her. You walk into your bathroom, the cold tiled, turning you cold feet. The bathroom is small and practical. A slide-able mirror, image medicine cabinet, tooth care supplies on the side of the sooty porcelain sink, and a fairly full bottle of Listerine mouthwash to rinse your mouth in a minty realm. You choose a bath for tonight as you suddenly get excited at the idea of being able to unwind. You roll the window up that rested right above your basic yet classy bathtub. Attempting to savour the last bits of the golden afternoon, you are now stepping down, looking at all the curves and edges and tones of yourself. You decide to look good and go in with the bath with high spirits. You run the water, steam producing warm and select a bath scrub, Bath and Body Works lavender thing with extra bubbles to cover up the clean mirror. Like a surface of the tub, you run your fingers underneath the running water and it feels different. It's cold. It's cold and you frown in disappointment. You ring up the plumber in your building after a quick hop on the MacBook to look for an easier solution, but alas, nothing could solve your P-light. He sounds black but sweet, as he swears to be upstairs soon. He even jokes around with you, and you laugh. You disconnect under pressure on to conceal your body from him. You rush back on into the bathroom to search for something to wear frantically and quickly. A vast majority of the clothes are being washed. Curb all the work parties you had during the week. You almost wanted to give up, but you can't. You'll have this bath tonight. 5 minutes ago by, and a quick tap on the door announced that he's here. You throw on a pair of 5 sizes too small and an oversized white tank top. You pray don't show. He's very attractive with his tumbled brown hair, spotted skin, and lively blue eyes. His build is slim, but hidden by baggy grey uniform. He eyes you up and down as he walks into your apartment. You lead him to the bathroom and show him the problem area. He sighs and gets down to remove the tools to fix it up. I can't believe I have to do this on my birthday, he says softly, yet you can still hear you feel so bad that he isn't celebrating, but you also want to get it done. He twists the wrench underneath the now Sangerline light and you watch him work, analysing as if you had a test in the subject the next day. About 10 minutes later, he's done, cleaned up, and the water has been restored to its original blandness, and you can't wait to get in it, but you remember the pack of vanilla cupcakes on your counter at his birthday. You rush back to the counter as he picks up the box, unhooks the plastic box, and takes the delicious white ice cupcake. His eyes widen as you hand it to him, a smile on your lips. Oh, thank you, he stutters, but you respond. He's out the door and you return to the bath, now ready to do it all over again, but feeling good because you did something sweet for someone. Next bit, please. I haven't got all day. I might have to pause this. It seems like I can't read the next bit. I hope this is the next bit and that I didn't skip anything. You are lending your daughter down a steamy hallway. It's been a couple weeks since she's been back, and she's been begging you to go. You, on the other hand, are trying to move on from the recent divorce. You open the glass door, separating from silence and loudness. Dang, water parks have really stepped on their game. The lengthy, multicoloured, twisty slides, people of every background going down them, running along the back wall, tube slides all over the place. and so much water it made the ocean look small. Your daughter's in a stylish little purple bathing suit, and you kiss her soft, chubby cheeks. She's only 5, but she's so cute and mature. You adore the out of that little girl. You set up all your fluffy towels and a large duffel bag of extra clothes and shampoo in a fake wooden chair. Then the table next to it is wiped dry to set the duffel bag on for good. The large fluorescent lights beam down in you guys as she's peeking away from you to get onto the beach effect pool. You beam down at your little girl. She's a vision. All right, don't be too mean to people. You warn as you gently touch her nose and she runs down to the pool. You watch as she gets in a bit deeper, and you finally have some time to yourself while you and the other people are around. There's so many hairy, overweight men around, but the man next to you is catching your eye. He's got a rough-looking tattooed blonde hair and large blue eyes. You think he's intimidating as all heck, but handsome. You bite your tongue. Hey, Whitney, he yells as a little blonde kid splashes your little girl. You want to slap her, but you can't. You notice the blonde girl turns around but looks at the handsome man. He turns to you and says with a rough but alluring accent, "Sorry, I'm trying to get her to be nicer in public," he said. You share the laugh with him. I understand my daughter's the same way, you say, revealing the truth about your daughter, sometimes difficultness. Hey, you got a name? He asks, turning to you. He's interested. Yeah. You say still keeping an eye out for your little girl. She's now playing with Whitney's mermaid Barbies, and the girls look like they're having a good time. Oh, that's pretty. Marshall, he says, and you smile back at him. You had a conversation with Marshall, and he's a pretty interesting person. Everything he says and you say is insightfully, and you guys become good friends. When your little girl comes back ashore for a shower and complaining of hunger, you knew duty called. You still wanted to talk to Marshall because of how much you liked him. And he seemed to like you, but he nods quickly. He scribbles down something on a piece of paper left behind on a nearby table. You are helping your daughter dry off and giving her new clothes, a pink shirt and some black shorts to go change into after her shower, as Marshall hands you a number shortly after. You want to scream as loud as the kids inside, but you smile instead to help your little girl along, but secretly you are hyped because you just made a new friend. Who would have known an indoor water park could be fun for adults too? You are a freshman in high school. In the late 1980s, you hold on to your thighs as you begin to stare at the last person exit the building. Snow had closed down your school for half the third time this month. How could you not just be annoyed at all? Your mother would be there at least another 30 minutes, and you knew you could walk home in all this. School felt emptier, colder than before. You gulp down from some water from your hot pink plastic bottle as it rests on the carpet. So, when's your mother coming? An administrator asks you. You shrug. You can't call home. You can't really do anything. They leave you inside the building and walk out to go home. You wish it was the future so you didn't have to deal with big chunky cell phones all the time. Hey, a short little skinny kid in hoodie and jeans holding a Walkman sat by you. You never seen him before. Must be a float away in the halls. It seems as if he's drawn to you, though, as he walks and sits by you in the corner of the room. You roll your eyes as he tries to strike up a conversation, but his words fall upon deaf ears. You fiddle with your fingers until he finally shuts up and asks about you. What do you want to know? You ask him, hoping to hear talk to you quickly. The boy did have lovely eyes, bright and blue, shimmery underneath the fluorescence. Why ain't you gone like the rest of them? He inquired as you shrug. Can't. My mum can't pick me up soon enough. You say. He nods in agreement. Yeah, I feel your mum didn't even want me to come back, he said, and you take pity and suddenly you ask what's on his tape, and he tells you you've never heard of NWA, Public Enemy, etc. You sit and make a mental note to listen to them later. He's funny and seems nice, and you feel as if you're going to remember this forever. "Hey, I'm Marshall." "You?" he asked as the blue comes up to the curb. "It's your mother." "And why does it matter? Would you forget me?" you inquire as you pick up your belongings. He follows you out, white snow down. "How can I forget such a beautiful face?" he asks, half jokingly, and you laugh nervously as you pile into his back seat. You wonder if you'll ever see him again, as he promised, even though you'll still cherish that conversation for the rest of your life. Time to end, or there's more, I can carry on. You've jumped on your favourite app of all time. The creative flows of patiently waiting always seems to grapple with you. The hair is common found in the Eminem antics you've read and made larger in Eminem fanatic rants. The slow beginnings yet insanely at a story of Zoe and Rookie pulls you up in the sweat, never let you go, God. And you're on about 10:30 at night, and you've been fighting the urges to post your picture upon the interwebs forever. You're afraid people would make comments such as, "Ew, gross, nasty." A lot of things make you insecure about yourself, but why see these other gorgeous girls do it? And you think to yourself, why not? So you freshen up your hair, swaddle your lips in shimmery carnation coloured lip gloss, and pop out the old phone. You snap a few, select the best, and go to your profile picture. A few congratulates you and read some rants about. No reads from the next couple of hours. Then around 12 noon, you seem to notice a mysterious person with a rare photograph of Marshall message you publicly saying this: "To be honest, you're beautiful, and I'm not just saying that. You're stunning." You blush, scream, cry, all of the above, but question lingers overhead. Who exactly hips this stranger? The mirror, something that's always guarded you from accepting yourself. A sheet of reflected glass should not have been such a horrible fate, but alas, for you it was pure hell to look into. It was no secret you were insecure. It was not something you struggled with. Such became part of your identity. You've lost yourself in a flavour of glass, and it's not that big of a deal to you anymore. You're awake to the blaring sound of your monotone alarm for another day at school. You represent the establishment with passion. People gossiping, people calling names, people backstabbing. For a girl with insecurities, it would have a resemblance to not wear a bulletproof vest in war. Totally vulnerable. You get up, wash your face, and pick at something on it, and ponders why you had to be cursed with such horrible proportions. Your floors grew to the size of 200 as you go dress yourself. You select a cyan top and a pair of dark denim capris. Your body looks good in it, but you can accept it as you turn a number, glance in the mirror. You roll your eyes at yourself in disgust, gathering your supplies and walking down the stairs. Your mother is stirring a pot of chicken for the night's dinner, and your father was sitting at the circular table reading a magazine. You grab an orange peel back the rough tangerine-coloured layers for the sweet fruit underneath. "Ugh, I had such a beautiful daughter," your mother says, turning to you and admiring your look. You fight back the urges to scream spongiousness of their statements. The mirror begged to differ. You eat your orange in silence as you think of all the things you could have been instead of, yourself. You get up and leave after slipping into some dark flats, shouldering your book bag. You walk to school every day. The day is bright and sunny, cloudiness too. It seems to be cheery just as you walk out. Your best friend, Marshall Mathers, bounds up to you in excitement. You'd secretly have liked him forever, just his huge blue eyes, his chopped brown hair, his short but still toned pale body. God, it was so hot. You'd known him since you were 6 and he was 7. He lived in your neighbourhood for a month before leaving for a couple of years, returning to older, more reserved, but it didn't matter. You were still best friends. Hey, he says, using that adorable nickname he gave you when you were about 14. Hey, Marshall, you distressed. What's wrong? He inquires. You hesitate in answer, and lately your emotions have been at an all-time low. Everything you looked at involved you was instantly rejected. You felt glided to an anchor, and you were sinking beneath your own waves of loathing. Marshall had a little sight of these periods of time. Nothing, it's fine. You lie, and Marshall puts his hand in your shoulder, shocking him a bit. No, I know you. What's wrong? He attempts again, and you shake your head. You don't want to say it, but you must let him in. It's just my moods. I'm just feeling ugly. You shortened all your thoughts, feeling, reactions, looking in into simple sentence. Listen, you're beautiful. You're just always down and makes it bad for you. He admits. You shake your head. You could not believe you just made Marshall's life more difficult. Before you can defend your actions, a swift pair of pink lips swept onto yours. You're dipped low from her feet hitting beige concrete. Marshall had a girlfriend. What was he doing? He sets you back up as you kiss back passionately. Now, if I could do that, my fears of you liking me, then you can learn to. Now, if I could do that, my fears would be like me, then you can learn to approach yourself, he said bluntly. I giggled. You still had some self-esteem issues, but they were lighter than a kiss. It was a windy, bright day in the brisk month known as September. Your hair whips around the wind as you duck into your house. Everything is set up accordingly. A place cleared off to the gifts, a beautiful porcelain-looking cake in the corner of a lacy white cloth, and a table filled with flowers. The food is all stacked on the kitchen. The only thing you're waiting for is your second cake, the actual big cake that everyone would eat. You're on and off change into the party dress, a peach-coloured sleeveless with ruffled bottoms, and stops mid-half. You tie up your hair in 2 even ponytails. Hand you feel as you waltz back into the room. You hit your phone, hook it up to a speaker, and pumping your street-style beat of Twisted by 50 Cent starts playing. You feel 1,000 feet air as you play the song. You jam out to the music. You take several selfies, seeing as you have full makeup on and hair. You listen to the music all you want and have a little party with yourself. You even hit some porcelain cake, but something feels wrong. Where's all the guests? You inquire them on the phone via text, but no one answers you. You feel strikingly alone as you sit on the couch. Everything closes in around you. You realise that everyone had left you. You ponder back to everything you said to your guests, and nothing worthy comes to you. A single tear slips down as what would have been a third hour of your party rolls. The sun begins setting, turning the whole living room a soft orangish carnation, like your dress. You're in full-blown tears now. Your makeup is smearing all over you. God, it's embarrassing. The chime on your door reveals the cake guy. By now the guests would have been overjoyed by the expensive cake. It would taste sweet in your mouth, tingled with the flavour of happiness from everyone showing up. Now everything would be tingled with the disgust of being forgotten. You pull up the door, getting a full face of cold air on the way. It shows a guy no older than 43. He has faint wrinkles, chopped oldish-looking blonde hair, aged blue eyes, and faded tattoos. You can see he's lived a reckless and crazy life. He's here to tell you about it. The cake in his hands, his chocolate, something you do not even like. Whoever ordered this is a twat. You think he looks around a little embarrassed. You order a cake? He asked, holding up uncomfortably. Yes. Set it right here, you brightly say, even though on the inside you're ready to call it quits. Where's everybody at? He asked, sadly realizing how alone you are. Oh, I'm going to get fired for this, I swear, he mumbles before closing the door and popping open the cake. He grabs your phone after requesting to see it and tracking the stillmatic word Nasbus. You want to dance as he flickers on the lights, not even knowing what to do. The lights you fairly large living room on and off with a special switch. A bright white is soon replaced by a bright blue light you installed for the party, and flashing everything is washed in blue, white, and black. I'm Marshall, he calls out to you as you walk over. You guys dance together to Nas' hard lyrics. You reply laughing as he cups his hands around your hips. You guys slow dance to the East Coast rapper. It's truly the best thing you've ever had the pleasure of experiencing. The song changes to Best I Ever Had by Drake. A guilty pleasure. Marshall grabs a bottle of champagne off the table. As the light flickers to a blue, he pops it. The foam squirts all over you guys. The lights are turning slower now as it switches over to the white, then back to black as you drink it. Marshall takes a few sips before wincing and not drinking anymore. As the song nears the mid-chorus, you plop down on the couch. Marshall sits by you. You guys converse a bit before the song switches over to another Drake song. It's around the time the party would have ended. Marshall stayed for another 3 hours, just talking with you. You eat cake, talk about the songs you are playing, and laugh about your lives. He gets ready to leave as you realise it's all over. Your night is done. Marshall steps into the cold night as you thank him for the possibility of the best night of your life. He drives away in his car. You watch him go. It's crazy how that night changed from a petty party. Let's go. Your commander yells through the heavy gunfire in the vast stretch of the yellow desert. He's trying to handle a couple of enemy men through the shambles of the house. Before the military, you were always dreaming of it to be the center of American wins, to be the receive praise for the savings and standing up for a strong nation meant a lot to you as a kid. It was 2002, you were aged 28, firing machine guns at the enemies and getting into daily struggles. The sand was being whipped around the inside of the dark, hollow home. You were on the outskirts of where the enemy hid, were plotting. Everything depended on being able to catch them and bring them down. You were not being sneaky. They knew your team was here. The powder blue and steamy sunlight broke through the rotten beams of the wood. As you left outside, you'd think your family and how it would feel to return with a giant medal around your chest, lapping against your upper half, or returning in hearse of being mourned over. Death was always knocking on your door in this line of work. You had to not let it affect you. You catch the glimmering sea-line eye of the Lieutenant Mathers, someone you had an eye on for the past forever. In the barracks, you would talk to him about your plan for the enemy and other things that had to deal with the war. But in actual field, you would not speak. You and him and another soldier, Austin Hanna, were out in the middle of the town now. After a bit of walking, you three were called to take down the little military setup, disrupt your army. Mathers had come up with this approach to trick them into not believing there were more soldiers. You thought it was brilliant. You were overly obsessed with how much ammunition was in your rifle. But as you checked again for the 10th time, a sharp pain was made felt in your leg. A man shot you as Hannah shot him in the face, causing him to fall down in agony. The leak of red spilled all over your camouflage. YLN Mathers called you before you blacked out. You wake up almost 3 minutes later. The fire is extremely heavy. Your legs feel untouched to your body. You scream in agony as Mathers picks you up and runs you back to another safe area. YLN, are you all right, soldier? He yelled as he was running. Are you all right, soldier? He yells as running extremely quickly to the spot. Your insolent speech is proof you're not okay. Your insolent speech is proof you're not okay. You see an energy soldier ahead of you behind. You're scared he's got an AK in his tinted hands. Hey, 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 look behind you, you say. It's extremely difficult because of how the shot affected your leg. It feels as if your vocal cords are dosed in jello. It's falling into them, rendering you speechless. He says nothing but keeps running as the sun shines in front of you. It's blazing your eyes as you begin hallucinating your life, your 10th birthday, your grandmother's funeral at the age 16, your 18th birthday, your enlistment, your first car. Everything hits you in several broken jumbles. A shady flat building comes into view and you're fearing of your lives. One more shot from the enemies that's still trailing and you are dead. Mathers dropped his gun a long time ago. He sets you down on the sandy cardboard floor. A wall of a few other items hides around from you from the doors, but Mathers, he rips a piece of his jacket and wraps it around your leg. You suddenly hate the army for the piercing screams and agony chorus of gunshots. It sounded like a song from hell, produced by Satan himself. Mathers, go, you managed to say through the hurt and opponent's wince glows your face of pain. No, YNL, my duty is to make sure you're okay, he says. And you want to smile, but you cannot. You stay there for a little bit as he continuously checks on you. Suddenly you realise you are not alone. You hear people yelling in a foreign language as it's time as if it was cued, middle-aged man bursts in, shooting everything in sight. You scream so loudly you're crying, and you notice in the corner Mathers stands up as attempts to shoot your face. He jumps in front of all 12 bullets. You count his attractive face, completely disfigured with blood and ammunition. His right pupil is completely taken up by a shiny black bullet. His lips suddenly with total are free. You're not sure what kind of people were waiting for Mathers back home, but you are certain he would not be coming back to them. You want to help him more than anything. It's mind over pain. But you stay in your scheduled position and watch helplessly as Mathers dies. It's heartbreaking, but out of your control, just like everything else in life. Are you sure your new man is really as great as you say he is? Your little brother says. He stores freshly baked bread in the wooden woven basket. Your mother rushes to where the spaghetti was finishing up in the baked oven. Your father taps the daily paper up against the dark wooden kitchen table. Your entire family was awaiting the arrival of the 3-year-old man and just recently fiancé, Marshall. He proposed to you on October 17th. His birthday was at his dinner. It was in front of all of his colleagues and friends, so it was 10 times as special. Yeah, I hope he's not a complete... Your younger, brave-faced, pimpy teenage sister scoffs over a Snapchat. Adela was always giving her unwanted opinions on something, even if it was negative. Addie language around your little brothers. Your mother warns as she lifts the jumbo-sized package off of the freshly baked spaghetti. You could not help yourself. You licked your lips at the sweet-smelling Italian food. The twists of parchment-coloured noodles were covered by a messy but delicious realm of sangarine. Meat-spiked sauce, you adore spaghetti loads. They are 12, Mum. They know what, she said, monitoring the twin brothers, last members of your family. They are identical, but no one was named Caden. But one was named Caden and the other Sage. No, we don't, Sage protested as he poked Addie in the thin arm. She pushed Sage back swiftly, and now the fight was on. You laugh heavily, partly over how fast Adela was willing to pick on the altercation. With the 4 years younger than her, you had your own house about an hour away, so it was rare to treat when you came to see your big, beautiful, but loving family. Your mother walks away where the spaghetti sat on the granite island over to where the table was facing from the giant window facing the newly cut evergreen lawn. She drags Sage away from Adela quickly as Caden sets the bread basket in the table centre. The doorbell rings early, just as the final toss is made up to the accompanying salad. Your mother rushes to the large bowl on the island with the rest of the meal set. You rush over to the casual yet stylish of your magenta skirt flows around your thighs. You see Marshall's adorable face and fine baby blue eyes as you open up the doors after the stocky chartreuse one. You embrace him with heavy arms and hug him dearly. "What's up?" he greets as he steps into the room. "This is the first time your whole family is meeting." So Adela, the twins, walk up in to see him. Who are you?" Adela inquired, putting a hand on her hip. "Marshall's fiancé." How about you?" He says, as he turns to the conversation back on Addie. She smirks in satisfaction. As the twins introduce themselves. As it turns out, Marshall brought them both paper bags containing expensive boyish gifts after you told him what they liked on a date. Adela leaned in close after Marshall and the boys get in to eat dinner with your parents. You earned a keeper," she said softly in your ear as you shove her. "You're only 16. What do you think a keeper is?" "Someone that loves you," she said, walking down the foyer to the kitchen. "How do you know he loves me?" you say. "It's just the way he looks at you," Adela says before you sit down. And since that day, you looked at Marshall differently. My paws are huge," your best friend Kaya says to reflect in the light-tinged mirror. You roll your heavily darkened eyes at her. "Kaya's been on your gorgeous list since you met in 3rd grade on the soccer team. Well, at least you don't have to like a billion freckles. Your other best friend's Amber Jade frets you met her back in 6th grade. During a track meet, you sling your arms around your friends and look at each other in the mirror. Y'all all beautiful regardless," you say. All you smile, talking to each other, and Amber Jade's dressed up in baggy-looking navy sweatpants that outlined her sumptuous bottom half, her bright orange braced back by a navy blue backwards cap. Her mocha eyes sparkled under the lights of her tightly fitting white tank top, outlined her small. Kaya was wearing a pair of crazy tall stilettos. And a skin-tight fitting back strapless that stopped shortly at her thick thighs. She wore a bandana around her naturally blonde hair that spun around her shoulders. It looked striking against her rich ebony skin tone. You're in center, dressed in a hot pink neon dress that stopped at your lower thighs, hair teased to new height. Even though the 80s were 20 years ago, you could have go as anything but the 90s, which ended a year ago. "Ready, Ams?" Kaya asks. "Yep." She asks you. Kaya, you ask, and she nods firmly. She closes up her upscale apartment as Amber and you adjust and aspect for anything that comes out of costume. Unpeeling, look at the lights go out as Kaya leads all the doors on the walk out. The air was chilly and starry as the moon beamed down on you. Amber, Jade, Kaya, you all packed into Kaya's black 1999 Toyota Camry. She sits down and pushes her purse and starts it up. Amber is in the back and you in the front. The last song was playing, which happened to be This IZ by Conflict, turns on. Amber left her CD in when she borrowed Kaya's car last night. "Yes, I love this song," Amber J cheers. The giggles as you realise Kaya, whose father worked for an upcoming rapper, disliked music, and Amber Jade, who came off straight the boat from Ireland when you met her, is a hip-hop head. Kaya says. We were pulling onto the road. We laugh together. Amber Jade seems to know the whole song, and you guys chant on as she goes on. We ended up turning it to the radio, which happened to just have the last year's brightest hit, No Scrubs by TLC. You guys all sing along to the catchy, empowering lyrics as you ride off to the Halloween party, being held by a co-worker named Lena. Then the real Slim Shady by Eminem comes on as Amber Jade squeals. She was the first in line to buy the Marshall Mathers LP when it came out earlier in the year. She thought he was the best rapper ever, right behind Nas. Kaya groans as she begins to heartily rap along. You also like Eminem, and you think he's the tiniest but bit attractive, which was vastly different from Amber Jade, who's convinced she would be marrying him in a matter of years. Isn't he supposed to be at this party where we're going to? You inquire as the song fades out to the next one. Kaya nods as you all pull up to a massive car riddled with lights flashing mansion. You guys park at the entrance just as music begins to get louder. You leave your friends and clutch your phone after making a promise to call them when it was time to go. You see Lena dressed up as Alice from Alice in Wonderland. You say hello and wish her thanks for the invitation. You realise how beautiful her skin looked in the... You get jealous, but it fades. You walk in further. The sight of 1,000 people dancing, drinking, scent of alcohol, sweat and sound of a very angry rapper going in on the microphone in the back fills your senses. You get excited. You take a couple of shots. You still keep intact. Then you see him. Eminem, his bright blue eyes, blonde hair, and baggy, offensive marked clothing make him stand out from the crowd. You realise he's just as drunk as you when a techno song comes on. You realise you cannot resist the urge to dance as you lead him with you. His hand slips farther than you want it to as the song breaks down to the chorus. You remove it as he pushes out an apology. You have some small talk. You find out his name is Marshall and he just went on. Now you guys are off the floor and taking occasional sips from the new red Solo cup. Then the lights cut out, pitch black darkness. A hand travels its way down your arm. You scream and then remember where you are and who you are with. The alcohol is slowly wearing off as you begin to piece everything together. Maybe someone just cut the lights off in the middle of dancing, as if Marshall had read your mind. He replies to nothing. I don't think the lights were cut out on accident. Come on, let's find a fuse, he said. You leave with him. You bump into several other people finding their way from the darkness. You both travel further down the hallway into an orange flame that emanated from a mysterious candle. It looked beyond ominous, sitting on a lone hallway table. I don't want to be lonely in the darkness anymore. Marshall, and your breaths are 1,000 times swallower. You realise you are the only ones. You both stay by wavering lights and talk. What do you think? You asked, holding on to your locks that seemed to get frizzier as you got more nervous. I ain't sure. I think it was someone intentionally trying to mess with us. Like who? You responded. Just keep it going. You're suddenly over grateful Marshall is there. You appreciate him more than before. I don't know, but I know they did it on purpose, he said, just as an unrecognizable face appeared. It looked like a young girl with the largest coal eyes and springy ash blonde curls. She appeared 3 feet tall, face just visible above the table, but her facial skin was stripped and speckless with the deepest blue veins that you have ever seen. How had a child got into the party? She could have been Lena's. You will wonder to yourself, who are you? Who are you? Marshall asked her, slowly gripping his hands around yours in an attempt to keep you safe. Who am I? Who am I? She shrieked, her voice cracking down the wooden door that seemed to envelope you both. Next she snaps down her foot onto the carpet, and the whole house turns upside down. Literally, the sickly and sticky feelings that you were in deep overtakes you. There were gut-destroying screams heard from above, followed by the crunchy sounds of furniture, sliding bones. You suddenly fear for Amber Jane and Kaya. The wallpaper peels off the walls as Marshall grabs the candles and throws it at the girl. It falls straight through her veiny skin and disappears. She does the same. You breathe heavily as the house sets back up and you find yourself wrapped in Marshall's toned arms. He kisses you as you immediately pick up your phone and to call Kaya and Ams to leave. Where are you guys? You say into the phone as Marshall backs away. As you walk back into the room, everything was discombobulated. No, yes, me no, but no, me no, so take off your clothes. Yes, no. If not known where it was to be placed. We're outside, bro. I saw you getting it with Eminem, but what happened? Amber said. As you both towards the door, you feel like you're getting close. As the party guests, you both push through to seam between your fingers in black stingy liquid. I don't know. Then the phone cuts out abruptly. The little girl sat atop a mass fresh corpse. She looked like a doll with her little white lace dress. It's rude to talk on the telephone in the middle of a party. It is rude to talk on the telephone in the middle of the party, she says, and she looks dead to you. Then she raises her cubby pale arms above her head as the corpse flies underneath her marionetting the dead. They remove the phone from you as Marshall kicks one to get it back. Falls back into your hands as he loads up his gun and aims it right at the little girl's face. She screams and her mouth opens up, the gaping black hole of hell and the tangerine flames. Fear had been screaming inside of you for the past hour, but is now verbalized. You both back up into the door as Marshall lowers his gun. You bolted outside. The car containing your friends is running and seems full. You all jam inside. The house explodes. Words have forgotten everything you said. Marshall had just gone through the replays back in your head. And to think you almost didn't make it out alive. Broken dreams were not all you had. You followed everything you wanted to. Grades up to academic perfection. Graduated with an undergraduate and a PDH. You were truly living the dream. Stomach full of riches. Your body, hair, face would be considered goals. But if everything were to fail away tomorrow, you would have no one. No one at all. And that is just what happened. Your $5 million office in sunny downtown Los Angeles had just burned down to a speck of dust, leaving a tremendous amount of black smoke and the screams in its forsaken wake. The sky was tinged with grey. Your lungs are now capable of asthma. Your stocks have crashed. The skies darkened along with your thoughts. It rains hard upon your body, but alas, you have no clothes, you have no shoes, you have nothing. You duck into a bar to escape the pain. The torrential rain, it's dark, musty, and smells like alcohol and sweaty men. You order a total of 17 shots that night. Shots, everybody! Make it drunk in the... Say out. Shots. Patrons on the rocks every time I'm taking shots. The women come around, everybody listen shots. You go home with someone you do not know. You do the exact same thing the next day. No changes, nothing spontaneous. Your body becomes sunken in a bloated black hole filled with garbage. Where your flat, healthy stomach used to be located, your arms are sunk down to the size of a 12-year-old's wrists. Your legs, which were so toned, thick, were fine, now emaciated. You had your own engraved bar, where people do not bother unless the name begins with bar and ends with tender. Someone walked the next day in the wrap of a swag oversized clothing. His hair was brownish blonde. His eyes were blue. You had never seen him. He sits by as everyone watched in horror, the stranger and the regular. It was like the first Christmas or Harley's Comet, something of pure wonder and mystery. You talk for hours and days at a time in the same bar, in the same clothes, over the same drinks. You like him, you kiss him, you love him. Time literally melts away as everything stops. You feel like the only ones on earth. He disappears into slim air. leaving a vacant hole once more where your heart is. You realise a broken dream cannot be fixed with a stranger, just as a bomb blast cannot be healed with a band-aid. Don't know if I should keep reading this. It's nearly been an hour now. I guess I could bookmark this and then do it another time, or maybe the next video can be this part of the story. How many more? The ones that aren't named, 3K, etc. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. There's 10 chapters left. Come on. Maybe 11 if you count this one, actually. We haven't read this one yet, but we can read it in the next one, in the next video, or whenever I decide to read it. But anyways, thanks for watching. I'll speak to you guys in the next video. It might still be on Wattpad, another Wattpad video, but if it's not of this story, it will be of a different one. So yeah, don't know if I'll have time for anything other than this. So thanks for watching. Bye.
Meet